Well, since I last finished the other video, nearly 3 days have gone by, so the next little bit is as much for me as it is for you. So let's do a quick recap of what we have looked at and what we have done. We've looked at the new machine filter and hoop filter, and you have to pick your machine from the machine filter. It is important. And then you choose whichever hoop it is you want to use. We looked at setup, work environment, and if you remember, I set my grid for 2mm. Let's just tell that cancel. In the first one we looked at fabrics, managing fabrics, and actually setting up a working template. And that's very important, and you can see even though I closed my computer down and I didn't open this program again for nearly 3 days, my template is still using the Madeira Poly Neon thread color, and whenever I choose that one template it will always choose that color. And of course my settings are held in the template for my stitches. Then we looked at calibrating our screen. Actually, I'm doing this all out of order, but you'll have to forgive me for that. And I think that was in setup? Yes, screen calibration. You've got to get that as accurate as you can. I do get asked sometimes, why has it got to be as close as possible to the real measurements? And my reason doesn't always sound very clear or cogent, but it is quite simple. If you've got this shape and you try altering your graphics so as this is the right oval shape, you've got the right shape on the paw, and you digitize to that, when you actually go to stitch, you may find your machine doesn't see an image anything like that. If your calibration has your screen as being too wide, because the program hasn't been able to work out how many pixels there are in a centimeter, you could end up with a design which has got a peculiar ellipse shape for a head. Or if it's too tall, you may find your ears are bigger than they should be, and that your whole design just looks off. So it is important that you get your program calibrated to your screen. It does tell the program exactly what it is that your screen is displaying. Then we made ourselves some bullion roses. I was a little bit naughty because I forgot to mention, when you created the bullion rose in here and you copied and you took a new page and you put that bullion rose onto the new page, you saved that as, we'll say, rose 1. You copy, you paste, you delete the first one. And the reason you delete the first one is you don't want to have 2 sitting in here. And then you do your copy and you paste, and you save that as rose 2. You do your copy and you paste again, and you do whatever you have to do, like we enlarged it or we decreased it. You change your colors, and then when you've got everything done to this one, you delete that one and you save the new one and call it design 3. So you never end up with more than one rose on a screen. Well, now I've got that little bit out of the way, let's just close this down. Seeing my color chart here, you remember that when we set our template up, we set up not only our stitch parameters in the managed fabrics, but our thread color. And then we looked at saving as a template into the template file. That sits in the Save As dialog box and all the way down to the bottom, and there it is. Okay, now I'm going to cancel that because I don't want to resave it and mess up my templates. So now we've done that, we looked at pathing, and pathing is the logical ordering of digitizing so that your design stitches out the way you want it to, in the order that you want it to stitch out in. And that's to minimize jumps, trims, because trims cause unnecessary little knots of stitches, and you really don't want that. Did I get rid of all of these? Window, I got rid of one. So we'll look at rows 2. And let's highlight the 2 of those. Hold down my shift key. Get the bottom one on that. Looks like I've got them both highlighted anyway. And go into my object details, dimensions, and that one was the 18.5. Okay, now I'm going to go to embroidery, make motif, and put it in new. Okay, new motif set, and I'll call this boolean. Okay, motif name rose. Okay, and now click once, come straight across, click twice. Rose has been created. Click into an empty spot, come over to my run line tool, pick up my motif run line. Okay, I'm going to come out to here, up to here, up to there. I think that's about the same. Oh, it's not really, but never mind, that will do. And what have we got? We've got a border of roses, because you've made a motif out of your boolean rose. Select these. That's it. And tell that delete. And now we're back to there. Now I will show you another thing before we finish, where you can actually digitize some little petals, bury them under this rose so they pop out as much as you want them to, and then you take the measurement from here to that far side, and that would be the width of your motif. But I'll show you that towards the end of this series of videos, this one particular set of videos. Okay, I'm going to close this window because we don't need it for this particular video. No, and close this one, and I've already closed the other one. Now I said to you I wanted to put some lettering in, and we can make it an Easter message, and originally I had the bunny centered, and then I thought no, I'd like the lettering underneath, so I moved the bunny up to make room for it, and I'm just going to write Happy Easter, and I hide my lettering toolbar. I'm using Hannah size 20, and I'm doing this the wrong way round. Easter, okay, and I'm going to pop that down here. Easter, and I center it up onto that center line. Now I'm going back to embroidery, lettering, happy, Happy. Okay, and I put that one up here, and I center that up on that line. And the reason I've done it that way is because I don't want a great big jump from here to the start of my embroidery, which is there. And before I go any further, I'm going to change the colour of that lettering, because I also don't want it interfering with my next task. And I'm going to start the next task in the next video, and it will be to digitize these 3 stalks, and then travel up into this area. Now, I've been looking at this and I'm not very happy with this big green splodge. I think that's ugly. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stems down here, and I've got 1 stem there. So 2, 3, 4, and maybe a little one going off there. We're going to draw those in with stitches. And we're going to use the paw to travel from here up to this leaf or this stalk first, then travel out to the end of the leaf and come back, then travel up to where the second stalk will be, travel up to a flower and come back with the satin stitch. So I'll see you in the next video.